Thank you, Louise. Welcome, everybody, here to Oulton Park, and a very warm welcome to this sunshine. Hey, Simon, good to be with you. Looking forward to the action, and straight into it. The championship leader, the man on pole position, wheeled off the grid. He might not race in all three races. That's a massive moment.
It's absolutely huge. We just see Gordon Shedden on the grid there, sitting there in what he thought was going to be a fifth-place start. Now he's immediately got a leap over what is only a 4-point gap between Jason Plato. He will be championship leader almost certainly at the end of this race just because of that.
I mean, something's obviously gone wrong with the car. They hope to get it all sorted by the time we have our next race, which will be in another couple of hours, and that's not long really with such a major problem as what we have had with Jason Plato. He's leading the championship by 4 points at the moment. He's had one race victory already, has Jason Plato, ahead of Gordon Shedden, who's had a fantastic fight back. So now we've really got Matt Neal on the pole position ahead of Rob Collard in second position. We've got a problem at the rear, have we, for Tony Hughes. One of the TOCA officials is still leaning into the car and getting everything all sorted, and actually has got it sorted just as these lights are about to go green for this warming up lap here at Oulton Park for the 10th round, the beginning of our fourth weekend of this year's British Touring Car Championship. Matt Neal is in third position in the championship, and he's only 14 points back of Jason Plato. So therefore, Jason, with him not starting this race, Gordon Shedden has got a lot to really make up. And hey, Simon, you know, Gordon has gone from such a terrible start at Brands Hatch to having 2 victories at Donington, 2 victories at Thruxton, and he's essentially second, or essentially leading the championship at the moment. So now we've only got one MG in the race now, and it's Andy Neat. Andy's going to be starting off the 6th row. Andy, hi, this is Toby up in the commentary box. You're on your warm-up lap as you go down to Ireland. We're with you now. You had a difficult free practice yesterday. You went so well here last year, but you had an off. Is everything all sorted with the car for today, Andy?
Yeah, I hope so, Toby. You know, free practice did go very well, but unfortunately had a bit off in FP2, which put us back here for quali. The guys only had like an hour to fix the car. But they did a great job, don't get me wrong, but it sort of hampered us a bit. But I think we got a good race.
But you had a great day testing at Rockingham. I mean, that's filled you full of confidence.
Yeah, it did. You know, we've done a lot of work on the dry setup and the car in general, and I think we're going to have a good race car today, so it's all to do from where we are.
Okay, well, we'll let you concentrate. Have a great race, Andy.
Thanks, guys.
So Andy Neat with the sole MG in this race as we come around this Oulton Park circuit, and we've said it once before, Simon, we'll say it again, this is an old school circuit.
It's a proper track, isn't it? It's got everything going for it, and we're going to enjoy seeing what these guys can do. But let's have a quick look at the grid, Toby.
Yep, no pole position now for Jason Plato, so it's Matt Neal, the only man on the front row. Row 2 is Rob Collard and Andrew Jordan. Watch that start from Collard. He's always quick, same as his teammate Tom Onslow-Cole, who's with Gordon Shedden on row 3. Row 4, Frank Rathall and Dan Welch. He had a great qualifying, did Dan, yesterday. Dave Newsham, Matt Jackson, he struggled a little after a practice off in free practice. Aaron Smith, he had a day's testing here, but it didn't work out in qualifying. He's on row 6 with Andy Neat, who we just spoke to. Nick Foster, Lee Wood, Liam Griffin, Adam Morgan, Tony Gillam and Will Bratt, who's taken the Rob Austin Racing Audi ahead of Rob Austin himself. Jeff Smith, Ollie Jackson, Chris James, Tony Hughes towards the rear of the field as we come into this 10th round of the championship. They're lining up on the grid. I remind you that Jason Plato has been wheeled off the grid with a problem with the suspension. The championship leader looking to really make hay, literally in these warm conditions here at Oulton Park, and there's a question mark as to whether or not he's going to be able to race in the second race today in a couple of hours time, and then the third race in about 5 hours time. But the Triple Eight mechanics will work hard. Therefore, we've now got Matt Neal on that pole position, but he's got a 27 kilo ballast to carry with the Honda Civic. Rob Collard, therefore, on the left-hand side. That's the rear-wheel drive BMW. It is legendary for getting a great start. We're under starters' orders, and we're away here at Oulton Park. And immediately, Collard takes the lead. Matt Neal tucks into second place. Third is Andy Jordan. fourth then is Tom Onslow Cole as we come around the first corner at Old Hall. That's all pretty clean, but now we're coming into the crunch time because this is Cascades.
And this is a situation that Rob Collard was working towards. Now we know that there's a different size tyre between the NGTC cars and between the Super 2000 cars. As we see Matt Jackson, I think, getting a place on Dave Newsham going through Cascades. The point being, talking to some of the drivers, including Rob Collard, is that these cars, the S2000 cars, work best at the beginning of the race. Their tyres come on quicker, and the temperature is going to help them in that fact, as we see Onslow Cole getting a good run past Shedden.
Yeah, he's got it back, fourth position. Shedden got through to fourth, but the Shedden car now in fifth position as we come into the Hislop chicane for the first time of 15 here at Oulton Park. Fantastic racing conditions. Finally, we've got some warm racing here in 2012. We had a great start to the year at Brands Hatch, but we haven't had the heat so far after the wind at Donington and the underwater conditions that we had at Thruxton. Having said that, great races we've had all the time.
Every time we know that it's going to be varied, it's going to be this wonderful mixture of different chassis drivers, the different combination of tyres, etc. Right on board with Matt Jackson. He had an off at the beginning of free practice 2, which put them behind the game. Then also the team had a problem whereby the water system hadn't bled properly. It was overheating. There's something just with a puff of smoke from the left rear of Frank Rattle's car, the local man from Preston. But Jackson, we know he's won here in the past. He won his first ever British touring car race here in 2007, and he's absolutely fired up to get some extra points for Redstone Racing.
And he's won 18 British Touring Car Championship races in total. He's got a lot of work to do, and it just proves at free practice that's really when the race starts, isn't it, Simon? He lost that precious time down at Cascades yesterday, together with, of course, so many people, and that is what has hampered him to be back in 10th position on the grid. And at the moment, he's in 7th as he comes out of Island Bend over the crest, building up speed once more. Still leading is Rob Collard, from Matt Neal, from Andy Jordan, from Tom Onslow Cole, from then Gordon Shedden, who gets it very sideways with the rear of the Honda Civic. But Frank Rattle's Toyota is all over the back of him. We're back on board with Matt Jackson.
Yeah, Jackson, interesting to see the drive coming out of the chicane after the right-hander at Knickerbrook. Didn't seem to quite get as good a drive as Rattle did. Rattle have done a lot of work, as in fact most of the teams have done in this break. We've heard that everybody's been off testing. They've all come back with something. And interesting now, seems like both the Hondas immediately behind Collard have got a bit of pace. Matt Neal was very, very quick coming out of Druid. So maybe it is now that these the NGTC tyres have actually come on better, because it looks like Matt Neal has got some big momentum at Rob Collard.
Yeah, he led over the line by 0.78 of a second last time. It's now 0.27 of a second last time. But the fastest man on the racetrack at the moment is Andrew Jordan. He's the fastest man on the racetrack and off the racetrack. Now down to Cascades for the third time of 15. This is where they had massive moments yesterday. Great big slides, full opposite lock. They'd run out of lock, in fact, as they went through the left-hander. And they're still treating it quite carefully. With the lack of heat in the outside rear tyre, it's the only big left-hander on this 2.2-mile racetrack. Defensive line there for Collard. He can feel the pressure already.
Yeah, he knows that it's going to be difficult now. The Honda guys, look at Onslow Cole, he's all over Jordan, and considering Jordan was the quickest guy on that last lap, he was convinced he was going to get pole position. He had fastest first and last sector times, but got traffic in his middle sector, and that really hurt him. He was convinced, as here Sir Chris James, end of the day for the ES racing car by the looks of things, certainly the end of this race anyway.
Now, he had an off yesterday. He was another victim of the cold conditions through Cascades, but no longer parts of this race. There we have the battle. Matt Jackson all over Frank Rattle's number 11 orange Toyota as we charge down to Lodge Corner for the third time. Holding the pressure at the front. Oh, and he goes through. That was a great manoeuvre. Can he hold the line? He'll struggle on the exit. Now it's a drag race as we come over Deers Leap, side by side. Matt Jackson has the advantage, only just, but who's going to have the inside line as we go down to the first corner? It looks like Matt Jackson Jackson. Is he giving space? He has to give space to Frank Rathel. Great racing.
Fantastic. And Rathel really knew that he had to make that one stick because Jackson had done that brilliant dive. Look at him now to the inside of Cascades. You see Rathel saw him coming, just jinked straight. Watch Dan Welch though. He's got momentum. In fact, Newsham's got momentum as Matt Neal's going to try the long way round. Collard's not having any of that though.
And he'll struggle to go around the outside. There is Matt Neal, who can get the better drive. Surely it will fall into the hands of the BMW. It's a rear-wheel drive car leading and a front-wheel drive car in second place. And a rear-wheel drive car in third, because Tom Onslow Cole has managed to drag race past Andrew Jordan down the back section into his lops, but he was stuck on the outside. He had nowhere to turn into except the blue Pertec Honda.
Yeah, Welch is looking very strong as well. Just saw him side by side on the braking area coming into his lops. But look at this, we've got these kind of pairs of races going on, pairs of cars racing hard. We've got Jordan, Onslow Cole, we've got the two leaders, and of course we saw that scrap between Jackson and Rathel. But look, it just looks inevitable with Matt Neal, doesn't it? The car looks like it's hooked up. But Rob Collard, he's such a wily racer, but there's a gap.
Oh, it's like last year all over again, isn't it? But now Matt Neal makes it stick and Collard loses all of the momentum. Jordan's all over him. Collard loses the lead. It's Matt Neal who now takes the lead. Collard in second place, Jordan in third, Onslow Cole. What a revival for the BMWs. Remember, Simon, they were victorious at the first round of the year at Brands Hatch, and now they're leading and they're going strong. Well, they were leading until this happened.
Look how late Matt Neal does this. He waits to Collard to think that he's not going to try it, just launches it down the inside. The intelligent thing that Neal does there is he doesn't get on the power too early. He doesn't run wide and risk seeing Collard come back to the inside. That's helped Andrew Jordan get a bit of momentum at him as well. And that's why he was so close coming out of the corner. It's Andy Neate having a little look at the back of Aaron Smith.
Down the back section we come towards the chicane for the fifth time, third distance. It is Matt Neal from Rob Collard, from Andrew Jordan, bunny hopping over the chicanes. There's Gordon Shedden in fifth, Matt Jackson, Dan Welch. What a great race. Dave Newsham, haven't given him a good enough mention so far here today. Now this is Smith having a massive moment. That's Jeff Smith in the Pertec Honda. Oh my goodness me! Is he going rally crossing? It looks like a farmyard on the racetrack now.
Well, this just shows you how much water we've had, how much rain we've had at Oulton Park. Friday it rained all day, Saturday it rained most of the day, and of course we all know what a tough weekend we've had of the Jubilee. And look at this, Andrew Jordan, he's all over Collard now, and it's inadvertently helping Collard's teammate, Tom Onslow Cole.
And it's helping Matt Neal because he now has got a lead as they come over the line of 1.5 seconds.
I'm sorry, Toby, I think Onslow Cole tapped the back of Andrew Jordan as they moved left and right. There was a little wobble and a very, very frustrated Jason Plato in the pit lane.
Jason Plato unable to start this race, did the outlap to the grid, and they discovered a suspension problem. A weld had pulled apart with the right-hand suspension, and he opted not to start this race. Look at the muck of bullets all over the racetrack after Jeff Smith had gone off there, and a punch and a push and a nudge from Andrew Jordan to Rob Collard, who just goes a couple of inches deeper on the brakes. And he still keeps that second place though. Still, Matt Neal pulls away. Could this be Matt Neal's second victory of the 2012 season after he won the second race at Brands Hatch way back on April the 1st? That seems a very long time ago.
Doesn't it, Justin? We're so used to seeing the Neal and Shedden shows. Tony Gillen, well, they had a damper problem they found in qualifying. There was no oil in the dampers. They've rebuilt them, confident that they found the problem. It's clearly something else that's going on. Now, you notice there, the BMWs coming out of the island chicane, apart from the obvious traction benefit, they've got a rear-wheel drive. Also, speaking to Rob Collard yesterday, he said, this BMW engine has got so much torque. It's one of the torquiest engines out there. It's got so much punch, but look at Jordan.
Oh, that's going to be very close. Bumper to bumper, now wheel to wheel, and it's door to door, in fact, as they come over. Deers leap once more. Down over the start line. This is a battle. Second, third, fourth position. It's as quick as that. Matt Neal's lead is extended by another half a second, 2 seconds, in fact, his total lead. Matt Neal has just got to tick the laps off. But all the work in the world has yet to be done by these three guys. The wiper's still at half mast on Andrew Jordan's car. Little bit of an aerodynamic disadvantage for the Pertec Honda there as they come through Cascades over the mud that's been pushed onto the racetrack. Defensive line once more from Rob Collard, and again he gets another nudge and a bit of oversteer.
Yeah, that was Andrew Jordan using a little bit of racing tactics to help him out of the way. Now, the man that's interesting here in this little battle is just a bit behind it. It's Gordon Shedden. He's not glued on the back of Tom Onslow Cole, is he? You would have expected, judged by the pace of Matt Neal, that Shedden, okay, we know he's got a bit more weight on the car, but he would have been amongst it, surely. Maybe he's biding his time. Maybe it's this thing with the tyres coming in a little bit later for the Honda.
Absolutely. So the two BMWs are running slightly narrower tyres, 17-inch tyres, not the 18s that the NGTC Hondas have, that are first, second and fifth. So in theory, I'm actually quite surprised, Simon, that the two BMWs didn't run away at the beginning of the race as we thought they might have done.
Well, I mean, the Hondas have just been so strong round here, and in just about every session we've seen just the inherent pace that's there. The chassis is so good, but the BMW as well, they've had a bit of a new lease of life back here. And this is a circuit that seems to equalise cars more than some of the others. You know, you go to certain tracks like maybe Snetterton, it's going to be all about NGTC. Is that Newsham off?
It is. It's Dave Newsham who's had it off. So Dave Newsham slipping down the order. He's now outside the top 10. He's had it off at Lodge Corner, and in fact, he's coming straight into the pits.
We think there might be some fluid down at Knickerbrook, which is the exit, the last part of the chicane. So they go through the right-left part of Hislops, and then that very tricky over-the-brow Kings. Talk about Shedden. Now he's coming on strong. Now he's on the back of Onslow Cole. And he's looking, just having a look at the sector time. He's going pretty quickly.
So Dave Newsham has come into the pitch, so has Jeff Smith, the sister Honda to that of Andrew Jordan's Pertec car. This is the chicane that Simon was talking about. We believe there might be a bit of moisture down at this corner here. They'll be short shifting up through the gearbox from second to third, exiting here at 70 miles an hour. There is Jeff Smith's car in the pitch, bonnet up. They're looking at the tyres, they're looking at the engine. What can they see that's wrong? Meanwhile, we're on board with Andy Neate. This is the battle for 10th position. There's Nick Foster in front of us with his eBay BMW. But Andy Neate's Momentum 99 MG on the pace. Flash of brakes from Foster as he goes through Druids, down underneath the bridge towards Lodge Corner. One of the overtaking opportunities on this 2.2 mile circuit, and Foster takes a defensive line in, but he might have left the door open on the way out.
But it shows good traction, considering it's a rear-wheel drive versus a front-wheel drive car. Just how good the traction was on that MG. Now, speaking with Andy, he had that off yesterday in FP2 that we talked about. He said the front of the car on the MG is relatively soft compared to the back, so that may be but Onslow Cole out of the top 6 position.
The 4th position man has gone off, and he's going to struggle to get off that soaking wet grass. What is going on here at Oulton Park today? He's going to really struggle. Look at the rear wheels. He's got no chance at all. So now Gordon Shedden has gone up to 4th position. There's your leader, Matt Neal, 2.3 seconds ahead of Andrew Jordan, who is 2 seconds ahead of the next. And again, Simon, it's Cascades. He lost it before he even came into shot.
Yeah, that was going in, so that's when he's turned in, he's locked the back of the car. Whether maybe he caught the curbs on the way in, or maybe we've got a safety car that's coming out. Maybe it was a situation where as he turned in, just perhaps put a wheel on the grass or something, because most uncharacteristic and rear-wheel drive, of course, so it's not an issue with cold tyres at the back, as it might be. Very, very odd place for it to go there, Toby, isn't it?
It didn't look as if he was turning in too early. It looked like a late turn in, who knows, but they're on the limit. You know, Tom's absolutely on the limit, and he will be gutted by that. He's 9th in the championship. He's only had 1 podium so far this year. That was at round 1. This is round 10. So now under safety car conditions, we are cordoned back up again, and being on lap 10 of 15, we're going to group all these guys together, and Matt Neal is going to be the man who's got HP about it, because that was a very healthy race-winning lead.
And Andrew Jordan on the lap before had gone half a second quicker than Matt Neal, so that could be very significant. Could be that Jordan, who as we said, fastest first and third sector in qualifying, almost certainly would have been on pole based on that had he not had the traffic in the middle sector. But I wonder also if Onslow maybe had a breakage of some sort. It could have happened. It could have been a tolling. Unlikely, but you just can't tell from what we've seen so far.
A lot of forces going through these cars around Oulton Park, a lot of stress, a lot of pressure. So who knows what's going on. Now, we're going to have an opportunity to speak to Andy Neate. He's in 10th position at the moment. Andy, quick mention, how's it feel out there in these warm conditions?
Yeah, it feels okay, Toby. Car feels very strong. Just struggling to get ahead of Nick Foster, and I struggled to get past one of the Fords. I've just got so much grunt out the hairpin. I get alongside them and they just drive up the hill.
Okay, you're green at the end of this lap. Have a great last couple of laps.
Thanks, Ryan.
And Liam Griffin has stopped on track. Liam Griffin from 11th position has just come to a halt. That's weird.
Well, that's clearly something. He's had electrical problems, remember we were saying earlier in the weekend. I wonder if that's come back. Now, I wonder if this is going to... Lights have gone back on again. That's because Griffin's car's stranded somewhere. So obviously the lights had gone off. Matt Neal's going to be thinking he's going. I wonder if he's noticed. I'm sure they're on the radio now. They're pushing him back. Can't quite see where this is. I think this might be somewhere around by the hairpin, perhaps.
Okay, so another lap under safety car conditions here at Oulton Park. We were just about to go green, but then Liam Griffin's car, whilst under the safety car, just came to a halt. They're trying to get that thing removed. And who knows how many laps we're going to have under racing conditions towards the end of this race. It's certainly going to be one hell for leather thrash, isn't it, Simon? This is going to be a sort of a Super Bowl, but everybody out there all together.
Absolutely, and I think Matt Neal is going to be under some big pressure from Andrew Jordan. I'm convinced that Andrew Jordan has got the strongest of the leading three cars out there. Collard is going to be an interesting one as well. I think Shedden maybe had just been biding his time. Perhaps he has got some pace, but it's something that's come to him gradually. So Collard's going to feel the pressure. And we're hearing that Jason Plato, there he is, he's coming out on circuit, so they've clearly... Oh no, I thought he was stopping the car, but he's just clearly just checking the brakes, checking everything's all right. This is just a test session for Jason Plato now. He's coming out here, excuse me, just to check that everything's back as it should be. He's obviously going to have to start at the back for race 2, but we've seen this before. We've seen Jason Plato, the old burn from the stern, as they say. There's no doubt he can do it.
And you never know. He might get a point for fastest lap.
Absolutely.
You just never know. There's a point for fastest lap. There's a point for pole position. So he had a point from yesterday. And he will just use it, as you say, as a test session. As lights are out on top of the Porsche, as it comes towards the end of this lap, we're going to be racing. Matt Neal's holding them back. Andrew Jordan, he needs to get the leap ahead of Andrew Jordan as we come through Druids there. Underneath the bridge, one more corner to go, and then it's going to be go for these last couple of laps here at Oulton Park. This is big pressure. This is about as big a pressure as all of these guys have had so far this year. Brands, Donington, Thruxton, and now Oulton Park. As we come into the summer, the British Touring Car Championship comes alive. We're racing again here at Oulton Park. Matt Neal crosses the line. Andrew Jordan goes with him. Rob Collard in 3rd position. No Tom Onslow Cole, he's out. Gordon Shedden, he's in 4th place. Dan Welch is just right up behind Mac Jackson. 5th and 6th position for those two as they charge down a cascade. Be careful about those cold rear tyres. Don't have a moment, just as we saw happen with Onslow Cole.
Absolutely. And now, interesting also, Matt Jackson didn't get the best of restarts. He was a little bit away from the back of Gordon Shedden, and Jackson, of course, has come from 10th to 5th. He's made some big progress. Now, it's interesting to see what sort of pace he's got in the Ford from this point onwards. We heard Andy Neate saying about struggling to get past Nick Foster. I wonder if this is maybe giving a bit more impetus to be able to find a gap past Foster, who drove a really good race here last year. So we like to say, Tony Hughes is off. Another local man with a local team from Stockport Speedworks. Frustration for him.
15th position, he might be able to get some points if he gets that thing rolling again as we ride on board with Matt Neal. Coming over City Hall down towards Druids. Hard on the brakes now, braking from 125 miles an hour. Look at the drift from Andrew Jordan. Double apex through there, 5th gear, up another cog to 6th. 125 miles an hour, just a little quicker than before as they stand on the anchors. Bang it down to 3rd gear, through Lodge Corner, and then onto the home straight once more. I can strain, I can look through my commentary box window and see them come over the line. The pair of them are split by exactly half a second. Honda Civic leads, Honda Civic in 2nd, Rob Collard's BMW then ahead of another Honda Civic and Matt Jackson in, Gordon Shedden in 4th position. Now there is Will Bratt, he's having a great race. 13th position for him, standing in for Rob Austin. Will Bratt, former Formula 2 race winner last year at Spa from pole. Great racer.
Now it's called the MGKX Momentum, and the momentum is exactly what Andy Neate had out of Cascades. He's trying to go the long way. He's trying to get so he can get a cutback on Nick Foster on the exit of the island hairpin. This is 10th position. He's trying to get 9th from Nick Foster. But Foster, as usual, you'd expect him to do what he did there. He uses the traction of the BMW very well.
And we've been given another couple of laps by race control so that we have a decent, good, long chance for these guys to race for the points. But otherwise, it would just be a couple of laps and it would be too short. So we'll let them get into their stride. Still, Matt Neal leads from Andrew Jordan. There goes Frank Rathel through his shot. He is in 7th place. There's Lee Woods just going through your shot. He's in 12th position. Back with the leaders. That looks closer. That looks less than half a second between the two Honda Civics. Ironically built in the same workshops as Dave Newsham is struggling with a bumper that's hanging on by nothing but the stickers, and that's going to be grinding itself away to nothing. Sorry, it's Chris James who is in 15th position. So that thing's going to struggle to get to the end of this race in one piece. Now then, concentration absolute for these two guys between now and the checkered flag. Matt Neal leads. Andrew Jordan 0.44 of a second behind. Can Andrew Jordan take his first victory of 2012?
Well, there's no doubt that Jordan is confident in the car. I made his day yesterday describing him as the Gilles Villeneuve of touring car drivers after his fantastic car control in those great big slides he had, but didn't seem quite as strong out of the hairpin that time. He was about a couple of hundred slower than Matt Neal at sector 1, so they're absolutely matching each other knock for knock. And of course, Matt Neal, whatever else you think about Matt Neal, he has got such an ability to deal with pressure. He soaks up the pressure so well. He's got a guy that he knows is a young charger. He's got a lot of ability. They respect each other, but he knows how to deal with the pressure so well, Toby, doesn't he?
Matt Neal made his debut in the British Touring Car Championship at the support race for the British Grand Prix at Silverstone in 1991. My goodness me, he certainly got experience. Now, we are back on boards with Andy Neat and Frank Rathel going off as well, together with one of the Ford Focuses.
Aaron Smith, I think that was, in the middle of that.
Was it the Dubliner had a bit of a moment? Well, he's not had a great time here this weekend. Is that a bit closer? Yes, it is from Andrew Jordan. It's gone from 0.5 to 0.4 to now 0.33 of a second. The advantage of Matt Neal over Andrew Jordan. So then, Frank Rathel has managed to keep his 7th position. Back with the leaders still. Now then, we've got 2 and a bit more laps to go. Can Andrew Jordan break Matt Neal? Can Andrew Jordan keep the cool? Yes, he can. Does he want to drive for the 2nd position and get a podium? Because it's been a while since he was last on the podium back at Brands. He's had 2 weekends without a taste of the podium. And coming off Thruxton, where he was so strong with Andrew Jordan, from a pole position, he needs some points. Look at this! Bit of a BMW askew. That's Nick Foster's left-hand side. That's all awry. Tom Onslow Cole is having a great fight back. That is Aaron Smith with the red Ford Focus. How is he keeping that lot behind him? Oh, he's gone down! He's gone wide! So Aaron Smith, and he's got a problem with the wheel. He's got a problem with the right front. It's flapping around, and I don't think that's going to go anywhere.
Could be a broken steering up, but did you notice how Nick Foster nipped back past Tom Onslow Cole on the exit? Let's have another look. Now, is there some contact here? I wonder, maybe clatters the curb a little bit. Watch, turns. No, it's already started to break. A puncher at the back, right rear puncher. That's where the oversteer came from Aaron Smith. Remember, he got clattered from behind on the lap before. I reckon that's what's happened. The bumper's been pushed onto the Dunlop tyre at the back, and that's affected now. It's half a second difference that time crossing the line in advantage to Matt Neal on lap times. So that's a surprise. Neal just found an extra bit of pace towards the end. Collard's hanging on in there gamely. He's not lost too much time. Shedden, surprisingly, not able to keep in touch with Rob Collard.
And after that melee that we saw at the Hislop chicane, Frank Rathel's come in the pits. The man who was on the podium, he's overheating. They had a problem. So many people have had overheating problems. And there's Onslow Cole has had another off at the same place through Cascades. Drama going on everywhere. We look at the moment. Still leading is Neal. 2nd is Jordan. 3rd is Collard. That's the podium at the moment. Meanwhile, here is Will Graff with the Audi A4. He is in 10th position now, ahead of Lee Wood. Frank Rathel has come into the pits, as I've said, so he's dropping down the order. Will he have a chance to get some points? Probably not. Lights ablaze though for Andrew Jordan, trying to put off Matt Neal. Now then, this time last year, Simon, we were in this situation with a Honda first and second, but it was Matt Neal in second place. He made that lunge on his teammate Gordon Shedden. It obviously didn't work. It was one of the moments of the 2011 British Touring Car Championship, but now the roles are reversed. Does he defend? Does he go for the fast lap? It is the dilemma of a motor racing driver when you've got somebody so close behind you.
Yeah, and of course, although they're actually the same cars, they're not the same team. There's no team orders like there potentially could have been. I think Jordan is going to go absolutely for this win. That's what he wants more than it's for him, for his sponsors. Onslow Cole is still stuck there. Interestingly, we noticed that Foster and Onslow Cole teammates were side by side, and Foster had some damage on the front wing. I wonder if the two were linked in some way. We'll find out later. But look how good Matt Neal was out of the hairpin there. Just perfectly got the power down. It's going to be these next couple of corners. It's going to be the only chance that Jordan's going to have. I don't think he's close enough here. He might be if he gets a good run up the hill into Druids and then can possibly do it into Lodge.
He had a good run through the first part of that chicane into the second gear left-hander. Now they build the speed from third as Adam Morgan has gone off with his Toyota on the wet grass. Meanwhile, back with the leaders. Just a couple more corners to go as they thrash into Druids. Matt Neal's holding the pressure. Look at the inside rear. It's just skating over this hot tarmac here in Cheshire. Skating into the last corner. Matt Neal under big pressure from Andrew Jordan. He keeps it nice and clean and tidy on the brakes. Matt Neal is going to accelerate out of the final corner at Lodge here at Oulton Park, and he takes victory. He takes victory. It's his second victory of the 2012 season. Andrew Jordan's back on the podium, and so is Rob Collard. He's back on the podium for the first time since the opening round at Brands Hatch. Gordon Shedden, fourth position for him, and our camera car man Andy Neat, what a brilliant finish for him, in seventh place. Chris James has had another off, so that bumper that was flapping around may be a cause for that. Oh dear, he's bashed out the rear glass as well, so that's a big off. Oh, look at this side. Oh, this is going to be big.
Yeah, oh, something's gone very wrong on the way in there. My goodness me, that is a very high speed off. Oh, dearie me, that is... Druids corner is not a place to go on now. Foster and Morgan. Now what happens to Adam Morgan? We saw him in the wall. It looks like he's lost the back end of the car a little bit, or not been able to stop the car. Gets tapped by Nick Foster, gets turned around on the exit of Ireland and clatters into the tyres. Great misfortune for Adam Morgan, who'd been going a lot better, was up in the top 10 in both the free practice sessions. And some very happy Matt Neal fans. There's a lot of them around here today.
Well, that's really going to shake up the championship, because the championship leader, Jason Plato, didn't start. Matt Neal back to his winning ways, and back to his winning ways brilliantly with a 27-kilo ballast when he started this race. Goodness me, he kept his cool as others, well, they just had their massive moments, didn't they? Chris James, as we saw with the replay going off at Druids Corner, they got a lot of work to get that thing sorted, and you got to feel for Tom Onslow Cole. He looks to the heavens, and he must be groaning as he looks to the skies, Simon. He's had such bad luck this year, has Tom. He had a brilliant opening race of the season. He was on a podium at Brands, and everybody thought, right, come on, we can do it down there with West Surrey Racing. His teammate Collard had just won the race in the early spring sunshine at Brands Hatch, and they haven't seen the podium since, until Collard has got on it here today behind the two Honda Civics.
Well, fantastic performance by Matt Neal under massive pressure. Onslow Cole, as you said, so frustrating. I mean, had such a tough weekend at Brands. The car wouldn't even run before the first session, and he managed to get a podium, which was awesome. And we know he is one of the very quickest young drivers out there. There's no doubt. I know his dad, Paul, works very hard in making sure the deals all work for him. And there's no doubt that he'll get his chin up, because he's a professional and he's a very talented man.
Let's have a quick recap. Matt Neal victorious by just under a quarter of a second with his Honda Yuasa Racing team. Pertec Racing with Andrew Jordan, he got second place. Rob Collard with the eBay BMW third. Gordon Shedden not really in the podium hunt in that race, so he bagged fourth. Matt Jackson safe and sound in fifth. Dan Welsh, brilliant to see him up in sixth, his best result of the season so far. Andy Neat, likewise, his best finish of 2012. Will Bratt What a race for Rob Austin and the Audi. He'll be over the moon with that. Nick Foster 9th, Lee Wood in 10th position. 11th was Ollie Jackson with his AMD tuning Golf. Frank Rathall in and out of the pits. 12th, he'll be a little bit disappointed. Tony Hughes 13th, Morgan and Chris James getting the last couple of points in 14th and 15th place. Now then, let's have a look at the standings. Jason Plato loses his championship lead. He's now 3rd because Gordon Shedden and Matt Neal have made it a Honda Yuasa Racing 1-2 after the 10th round of this year's British Touring Car Championship. Rob Collard with his 3rd position today. That's 4th for him overall. He goes up 1 spot with the 3rd that he's just bagged. Matt Jackson, he goes down from 4th to 5th. With his result here this morning. Andrew Jordan, Dave Newsham.
One of the highlights of the day here at Oulton Park, round 11 of the Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship in near ideal conditions. Commentators Simon Hill and Toby Moody.
Matt Neal will be starting from the pole position for this 11th round of the championship. They're on the warm-up lap at the moment. But, again, just as we saw at Donington Park, we've got a champion and a former champion topping and tailing the grid. Matt Neal on the pole from Jordan. 2nd row is Rob Collard, then from Gordon Shedden, the new leader of the championship. 3rd row, birthday boy, 31 years. He is old today. Matt Jackson and Dan Welch. Then row 4 is Andy Neitz, Will Bratt, Nick Foster, Lee Wood, Ollie Jackson and Frank Rathall on row 6. Row 7 is Tony Hughes, Adam Morgan with the 2 Toyotas there. Chris James, Aaron Smith, Tom Onslow, Cole, Liam Griffin on row 9. Dave Newsham is the lone man on row 10. He should have Jeff Smith alongside him, but he's had an engine change, so it's Gillum and Jason Plato at the back of the grid. The former championship leader who came in today as the championship leader by just 4 points. He had a suspension component failure when he was on the outlap to the grid a couple of hours ago, Simon. Therefore, he's starting at the back. The last time he did it, it was at Donington. He got on the podium.
And I wouldn't be at all surprised to see more of the same. He seems on top of this car. There's a number of things. I had a long chat with him this morning. There's a number of things they've worked on during testing, and they've found a way of ironing out, or sort of, if you like, ticking off some lists of it's not that, we think it's this. And they've narrowed it down. We've got the front of the car working very well. The steering is something that he's worked on as well. He's actually changed his seating position to give him more purchase when he's turning the wheel. That's the kind of level of detail that Triple Eight and Jason have gone to. And I wouldn't be at all surprised. He absolutely and totally and utterly rags that car, and he gets the most out of it every time.
But there you have a perfect example of how difficult it's going to be for Jason Plato when he's on the grid, because he's actually going to be out of sight of that camera in that dip, Simon. So not only will he literally need a pair of binoculars to even see the lights go green, but he's going to be pointing uphill, front-wheel drive car. He's going to struggle.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult launch. Yeah, I think we were chatting earlier, Tony. You'd rather be in a BMW at that point in the circuit, but Plato will be very decisive, and the drivers immediately around him will know he's coming through.
So as Jason Plato takes his position at the back of the grid, the MG's going well here this weekend. Let us not forget Andy Neitz. He was at the Rockingham test together with Jason Plato, and Andy is starting from the 4th row. At the front, it's Matt Neal from Andrew Jordan. The guys who were 1st and 2nd in the last race here a couple of hours ago. Watch the BMW. Collard, is he going to be making one of his trademark starts? Well, he's been boxed. He's been really boxed. Is he going to go around the outside? He gets away with it. The BMW is leading ahead of the Hondas as they all stream round the first corner. Plato's made up a position already as we go down to Cascades for the first time. It's Collard from Matt Neal, from Matt Jackson, from Andrew Jordan in 4th position. We come round Cascades for the first time of 15 here in our 2nd race of the day, but now we're hard on the brakes.
We are. Look at Matt Jackson. Great start for him, getting himself up to 3rd. Jordan, conversely, didn't get the best right launch away. Sorry, Jackson, of course, 4th now, and then it's Matt Neal. Look, under the pressure from Matt Jackson gets great momentum, wonderful drive, and he's round him.
So Matt Jackson through an upper position as he comes through the Hislop chicane for the first time. There goes Brett coming through. There goes Lee Wood just ahead of him. Andy Neat right on his tail. No Jeff Smith in this race. He had an intercooler problem because he went off track in the first race of the day. He's having an engine change. He'll be out for the third race later today here at Oulton Park. But as we stream our way down to Lodge Corner for the first time, it's still Collard leading, from Jackson in second place, from Matt Neal in third, from Gordon Shedden, who takes fourth position, away from Andy Jordan. Jordan will be kicking himself. He's losing positions hand over fist. There then is the Proton of Dan Welch right up on his tail, the blue and white car. Lee Wood, we've had a real upturn of fortune for some of these guys in the first race, and then this grid has thrown the order out somewhat as we are in this second race, and it's giving people like Lee Wood a chance, and so's Gordon Shedden. He takes his teammate. Brilliant couple of corners from Gordon Shedden, the new championship leader.
Well, he's determined, isn't he? He's also obviously got a car that's a bit lighter than the other two cars he's just been fighting with. In other ways, they're more or less identical. Andrew Jordan seems to be the car that's struggling most for pace in these early laps. Whether it's that the tyres haven't quite come in, or whether there's some other change they made that means the car's going to be better later on. Neat in the background there coming through, and Jason Plato now is already up to 16th position.
We're going to have to concentrate on the leaders, because Matt Jackson is all over the back of Rob Collard. He's had a brilliant lap as Matt Jackson, as we concentrate on these guys streaming around Hislops. They're going to go up towards Druids. There go your leaders through your shot. They're running away with this one. And look at this pace from Matt Jackson. Now, Jackson has got 9 kilos of ballast on board his Focus. There's a car in the distance there. That's a back marker. It's one of the sister foci to Matt Jackson, I think it is. But Rob Collard, he's got 27 kilos of ballast on board. And remember, Simon, these two chassis, both S2000 chassis, so there's really nothing between them except the ballast.
Except the ballast, except the difference in the way that the BMW uses its tyres compared to the Focus. The Focus is a very strong engine, as in fact is the BMW. We talked about that earlier in race 1. Rob Collard knows he's got to push very hard to get away, but both of these guys, remember, in S2000s are therefore on the 17-inch tyre, which means it's a tyre that seems to work better early on in the race. They know they need to work their way away. At the moment, the gap between Matt Jackson and Gordon Shedden is over 2 seconds, and Matt Jackson set the fastest lap of the race last time round.
There goes Frank Rathall through the island hairpin. He was voted by the fans, you at home watching, the fans on the side of the racetrack at Thruxton, as drive of the day last time we saw Frank Rathall. He got a bottle of bubbly as thanks for that, as Matt Neal is under big pressure from Dan Welch. Matt Neal, of course, running 45 kilos of ballast. Dan Welch running 0 kilos of ballast. But they're both... Oh, Will Bratt goes off! Something must have broken, the way that it just speared off the racetrack there, and how his fortunes have changed from an 8th position in the first race, and now he's off the racetrack. Now then, as Aaron Smith is about to be lapped by Rob Collard, Matt Jackson, Aaron Smith's teammate, is pushing very hard indeed as we come around to complete the third lap of 15. Collard has got his mirrors full, and Jackson is on full fighting form.
Yeah, of course, both of these guys have driven for motor-based performance, as we know the team Redstone Racing as it is now. Collard winning races in a BMW for David Bartram's team in the past, and Matt Jackson very much their star driver now. They are absolutely confident in the chassis. They've engineered it. I spoke to Ollie Collins, team manager, this morning, and he said it's a combination of, we've got some great engineers, some great mechanics, and in Matt Jackson we think we've got one of the very best drivers out there. Look how good he is on the brakes. Brakes, of course, like the tyres, smaller than the NGTC cars, but of course these are both NGCT cars.
Yeah, and brakes have been a big talking point here this weekend. Dave Newsham cooked his brakes yesterday. They didn't put any ducks on, and it hurt him in free practice and qualifying, and many people saying they were running out of brakes in the first race. There goes Frank Rathall. He passes Neat, or does he? Yes, he does. No, it's Plato. It's Plato who's managed... So it is Neat that he was bashing wheel to wheel with, and Plato's right up behind him in 12th position. So, well, there's a Jaso Plato sandwich that's just been launched, and Frank Rathel is the new Plato sandwich in amongst those MGs.
Well, a little bit of role reversal. Remember at Thruxton it was Plato hassling Rathel in the final race. Now Rathel seems to be hassling Neat, and there's Plato behind him again. So it's going to be a bit of this MG sandwich. Rathel, the local man, of course, we know how strong this Toyota has been. It's an all-new car from what they ran last year as Team Dynajet. Frank Rathel Senior. Look at the drive that Plato got there. This is helping him to get himself through. Thomas O'Connell might follow Jason Plato through. He does, and they got away with it. Oh, and Rathel ends up on the grass. Look at a recovering Adam Morgan. Even.
And Rathel had an off in the first race, and he filled up the radiator and the intercooler full of grass and earth, and that caused him to come into the pits, and Onslow Cole's in trouble again as Adam Morgan goes past him. As we all get ourselves back together. No, Frank's gone off again, and look how I was saying it's filled up that intercooler. There's going to be no air going through the front of the Toyota, and he's going to have to come into the pits again to get the grass being taken out.
Dan Welsh in front of Matt Neal. Now there's something you would have expected to say earlier in this season. I'm thinking that, here we go, look in the background there, you can see Morgan. What happens to Rathel? It's like almost like a braking issue, just couldn't stop the car. But Matt Neal, it's surely not just there's steam and smoke. That looks like a failure of some sort, doesn't it? That looks like possibly even or is it just lots of smoke from a very big lockup? Who knows?
Well, back at the front, we've still got Rob Collard leading this race from Matt Jackson, from Gordon Shedden with the 52 Honda Civic. Then Andrew Jordan, he's in fourth position. The leading four are miles ahead of Dan Welsh, relatively that is, British Touring Car Championship terminology you understand. And as you said, Simon, Matt Neal behind Dan Welsh in sixth position. Now, this is Andy Neat. A big puff of smoke from the exhaust, and
could that be oil on the tyres perhaps? It looked like something very odd happened there. Now we know Andy had an off in free practice, remember, when he locked the rears up going into the island hairpin, and I wonder if maybe, well, that's not a braking issue, is it, because he's already starting to accelerate out of the second part of his. He's there as Adam Morgan off, and it looks like he's got a puncture as he or something at the back's locked up.
So he's gone off, I think, at Cascades. Let's have another look. It is Cascades. Look at Adam Morgan, the second car.
That looks to me like something broke. The way it turned to the left so suddenly before it even really got on the brakes, like something in the rear suspension maybe had let go there.
Well, you take the words out of my mouth. We had a suspension failure for Jason Plato when he was on the outlap for the first race. As we're riding on board with Matt Jackson, he's getting ready for a birthday cake. Will it be at the top of the podium? Great drive as he comes out of Druids, and Rob Collard knows he's got a lot of work to do with the Ford Focus behind him. Collard takes the inside line. We're on the outside line. Will he cut back and accelerate down the dip past the oak tree? Aaron Smith still in the distance. He's nearly a lap down after a pretty chronic first lap that the Dubliner had, but all this has done for the championship leader Gordon Shedden is bring those leading two closer to him. And having said that, Gordon Shedden is going 0.7 of a second a lap faster than the leading two, because they're looking in the mirrors, they're ducking, they're diving, they're weaving, they're dodging, and that's Neat's out of the race. So it was a problem that we saw that put him into a spin at the Hislop chicane. It's all going off, and it will continue to.
Indeed. Now look, bit of a bang. You can see that one coming. He edges him wide, gets to the inside. He's going to get drive. Watch Collard moving across. The pair of them go off.
They nearly go off, and they've lost first and second place, and they go to third and fourth. As Gordon Shedden now leads the race from Andrew Jordan, and Matt Jackson has got a puncture. He's got a front left puncture, surely, as he was trying to scrub off the speed. So was Rob Collard, and he's struggling for grip, and it's going down. It's a slow puncture on the front left. How one little tap can then cascade the order of this race, as Dan Welch has now come through. So by my reckoning, he's going to be third.
He's going to maybe get a podium in the Proton. Now, for the Welsh Motorsport team, for the SOP guys, this is an incredible performance. Adam Morgan's in the pits.
There was a slippery surface flag being shown on the entry into Lodge Corner there, Simon. I don't know if you caught it, so maybe there was some oil spill from Neat as he made his way round to get back to the pits. It's very slippery. They're under maximum load here at Oulton Park. It's one of the classic circuits. You know, Sterling Moss used to race here, Jackie Stewart in their formative years. Now take us through this, Simon, from the outside.
Well, a little tap from Matt Jackson pushes Collard wide. Collard's not having anything. Tries to use the drive of the BMW. They fall over each other. Collard gets into a big slide, but of course they've gone wheel to wheel at this point and they've damaged their respective tyres. You can see on the exit. Watch the little tap. Just at the last minute, just a little kiss to push Collard wide, but now Collard comes back hard. Bang! The rear wheel of Collard is rubbing against the front wheel of Jackson. They flick across each other, and the two Hondas go, cheers, guys, we'll have that.
And there is Matt Jackson in the pits, and that Dunlop is going nowhere fast. They need to put a new one on. They're desperate to get some points here today. And Matt Jackson, he was challenging for the lead. He came to blows with Collard, and now he's way down the order in about 17th position. Back with the leaders. Shedden leads this race by 4/10 from Andrew Jordan. Dan Welch 6 seconds back in third, with Matt Neal another couple of seconds behind him in fourth position. Lee Wood in fifth, and Jason Plato from the rear of the grid in sixth position. Nick Foster, he's in seventh. He had a couple of points put on his licence after the first race that we had here at Oulton a couple of hours ago, after a bit of a tiff down into the Islop chicane. And Liam Griffin behind him in eighth, Dave Newsham in ninth, Tony Gillam in 10th position. Looking back from Matt Neal's car in fourth place, was that Jason Plato coming through? Was that Jason Plato coming up into fourth position? We're going to hold the shot, and Jason Plato has got through to fourth position. What a fiery drive from Jason Plato. That's a racer racing at a racer's racetrack.
Well, Jason Plato is now just under 10 seconds behind the race leader, Gordon Shedden. We have 6 laps to go, and at the moment, Jason Plato, 1:28.949, is about 2/10 slower than Shedden, but he's much, much quicker than Welsh, who's immediately in front of him. So there's no doubt that he's over a second quicker than Welsh, even overtaking. So as good a job as Dan Welsh is doing, he's going to be watching for that car of Jason Plato to bear down on him. You said, Toby, last time he started at the back, he got on the podium, we said don't bet against it, and it's looking possible.
Exactly, as these guys charge through Druids. There's a bit more cloud cover here as we're in the midst of this second race. There's a couple of back markers in front of them. One, I think, is Aaron Smith. There's another one, which is the BMW. It must be of Rob Collard. Indeed it is, but they will get the blue flags. They'll be out of the way in short order for these two brand new for 2012 NGTC Honda Civics, the Honda that's built in Swindon, and then this racing car that is put together in Worcestershire. And then Andrew Jordan's guys, they then do the race-by-race preparation up at Lichfield. And the other dilemma that Andrew Jordan has got here, Simon, is that although they're different teams, although they're battling for a race victory here, there's still a bit of data crossover between Team Dynamics leading and Team Pertec in second.
There is indeed, and I spoke with Mike Jordan, team boss, and of course father of Andy Jordan, yesterday, and he said the other thing that the regulations take into account is the performance of all of the Hondas, not just the one individual team. So they're going to benefit or lose out in terms of this balanced performance that's applied by TOCA, which, let's be fair, is working very, very well, because we've got this wonderful mixture of NGTC front-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive S2000. It's working fantastically well, and Andrew Jordan, for my mind, is going to be interesting to see what he does in these last few laps in terms of pace. Has he got something left? He knows what he was up against in race one against Matt Neal. He knew he nearly had the pace, but he didn't take that risk. As you said, Toby, didn't want to risk clattering into the back of Matt Neal. It's going to be the same with Gordon Shedden. He knows that's the championship leader in front of him.
Now there is the gap then back to Dan Welsh. He's another 7 seconds back of the leading duo, but Plato's gaining, as you absolutely predicted, Simon. He's got big pressure on from the MG behind. It's got massive momentum written all over it. It's got massive momentum here in this race. There are the back markers. Ignore them. Here are your leaders. Shedden, leader of the championship by just 2 points ahead of his teammate Matt Neal. Then behind him is Andrew Jordan, 6th in the championship. He was on the podium twice at the opening weekend of the season, and here we are at the 4th weekend of the season, and he got back on the podium only in the race before last. So he's in the mood. He had such bad luck at Thruxton, did Andrew Jordan. It was a stellar qualifying lap in damp conditions that he did 6 weekends ago at Thruxton, but now he's got to get some points on the board and he's got to get some victories on the board. But he's going to be lapping, looking at the tail lights and the rear wing of that Works Honda, thinking, do I go for it? Do I do a lunge? Do I do a 2011 Honda Civic Special here from last year, Simon, or do I play it safe and get another 18 points?
Well, if you think about it, that lunge thing is going to be something that will play on his mind. He knows what happened. But also remember, of course, he's got more weight on then, of course, Gordon Shedden. So Shedden, perhaps he's playing the 3-race game, as it were. Solid result in race 1, looking maybe on for a win in race 2, and then if the reverse grid works for him, it's going to work well. Now, Welch did a very strong previous lap, but Plato was 8/10 quicker on the one before that.
There is Nick Foster right up on the tail of Lee Wood. Nick Foster, that's his best race so far this year. He started it on his roof at Brands Hatch, and Lee Wood as well with the S2000 Vauxhall, the Herefordshire driver, doing superbly well here at Oulton Park. He's 6th at the moment, and he was 10th in the first race that we had here earlier today. There's your battle for 3rd position. It's Dan Welch in the Proton and Jason Plato in the MG6. Started from the back of the grid, did Jason Plato. Dan Welch started from 6th position, back of the 3rd row. And Welch, he really needs a solid results under his belts here this weekend. He had such bad luck at Thruxton with all sorts of drive shafts snapping like carrots, and now all of his good luck is coming together, and he's proving his worth and he's proving his speed as the leaders go on up over the crest towards Druids.
Yeah, the other thing that's impressed me with Dan Welch is that initially Plato was a second a lap quicker. Now he seems to have settled down. He's only about 4/10 quicker than Dan Welch, so that shows that Dan Welch is actually getting an awful lot more out of that car than we expect. We expected him to just be had chunks and chunks of time taken out of him by Plato. It's not happening quite like that. Last time round, it wasn't even 4/10, it was just over 3 and a bit tenths. So Dan Welch with 3 laps left, if he keeps it like this, he had just over a second gap. He might just hang on to this podium.
Absolutely, it's in the greatest of respect, it's easier for Jason Plato to pass the people off the grid and at the back of the field, but you know, it's purer and purer towards the front, and it's harder and harder as he gets further up the order to just pick them off willy-nilly. Big gap, then they hove into view over the crest. Brilliant Oulton Park shots that we're seeing here, and Dan Welch under real pressure as we're halfway around this 13th lap of 15. Down to Island Bend we go once more. Oh, big pressure. Can Dan Welch hold it? Yes, he can. He's safe on the brakes through the island hairpin. On the power, has the traction of the MG. Is that going to fall into the hands of Jason Plato? Because we saw at so many circuits so far this year, the traction of that 888 MG is so much better, in my eyes, Simon, than any other car out there on the racetrack.
Certainly of the NGTC cars, it seems to be working the best in that respect. Welch, got to give it to his experienced driver, race winner in all kinds of categories. He's been around motorsport for a long time, son, of course, of multiple rallycross champion John Welch, and it's his engineering and Dan's engineering expertise that's made this Proton come on so strong. Proton, of course, no strangers to British touring cars. The late great David Leslie racing for them a few years ago along with Phil Bennett, but Welch is going to have to work so hard to keep Plato behind him with just over a lap to go.
He's on the brakes. He's on the brakes. He's running low and he's running wide as Dan Welch, and Plato has just about got a half wheel ahead of him. He breaks the timing beam, technically in 3rd position. He's 11 seconds back of the leaders, but Plato fires his way through to 3rd position. Dan Welch try as he may for well over half a dozen laps. It was very difficult indeed to keep him behind. Meanwhile, here are your leaders. It's the white Honda and the blue Honda who are 1st and 2nd. The red Ford Focus of Aaron Smith gets out of the way. He gets lapped after something that happened in the early laps. We didn't catch it, and he's had a pretty chronic weekend here at Oulton Park after having a day's testing here, setting it all up perfectly, and then the bad luck going against him. He needs to find a 4-leaf clother, I think, when he goes out of the back of the garage to prepare for the 3rd and final British touring car race later So then, leaders, lap and a half to go as they crest the hill down towards Druids Corner. Shedden leads this race as he's hard on the brakes for the double apex right-hander. Through he goes again over another crest, a classic parkland circuit here, and then down towards Lodge Corner. Lights ablaze for Shedden to try and get people out of the way, and likewise for Jordan to get the leader out of the way. Lap to go.
Yeah, I don't think Shedden's going to crack under that pressure. We've seen him win 6 times here at Oulton Park before. Andrew Jordan loves this circuit too, but Shedden knows all about winning here. It's just been one of those tracks, like his home circuit at Knockhill, that just always as Jordan runs very wide. That's how hard Andrew Jordan is trying. He knows it's not over yet. He knows he can pressure Gordon potentially into making a mistake, but it's highly unlikely. When you have either Gordon Shedden or Matt Neal in front of you, looking at two of the most experienced, most talented guys on the grid, they don't make those sort of mistakes easily. It's going to require something as Gillian looks on, hands together, praying, come on Gordon, get it done, extend your championship lead, and it's looking good at the moment.
And it's also going to be a very good championship race for Andrew Jordan. He started this race 6th. By my quick mental arithmetic, he might even go to 4th position, because the people ahead of him, Matt Jackson and Rob Collard, have had chronic races, and they're not going to be scoring here today any significant points. Only Collard might just get a single point for 15th position. Matt Jackson, he had a puncture when he came together with Collard, and he's been in the pits once if not twice, as Gordon Shedden is hard on the brakes and hard on the power through Druids. One more corner to go. Oh, Lodge Corner, it holds so many bad memories from 2011 when his teammate Matt Neal came past him. A pair of them out of a 1-2, but for Gordon Shedden, it's his 5th victory of the 2012 British Touring Car Championship, way ahead of everybody else in the field. 2nd position for Andrew Jordan, and what a drive from number 99, Jason Plato, from the back of the grid. He clinches 3rd position, and what a great day here at Oulton Park for Dan Welch with the Proton, 4th for him. As the rest of the field are about to come through, Matt Neal clinches 5th position ahead of Nick Foster and Lee Wood, 6th and 7th place. That's coming over the line is Liam Griffin. Great to see him get a top 10 finish after some electrical gremlins in the first race that put him out. And Tom Onslow Cole, who had some driver error problems, as he admitted himself this morning. He gets 9th here this afternoon. Dave Newsham on the outside of the top 10. But a round of applause for Gordon Shedden. Simon, that's now 5 victories for Gordon Shedden out of 11 races so far this year. The only other guys who have won races, Matt Neal and Matt Jackson 2, Plato and Collard only a singleton victory each, as Frank Rathor continues.
Well, I would be very interested to see what Jason Plato can do in race 3, depending on the grid slot that he ends up being allocated. I think there's going to be something very interesting to see from that Momentum KX MG6. But there's some great drives out there. Dan Welch, we mentioned. Got to say well done to Nick Foster, Lee Wood, Liam Griffin especially, and Tony Gillam right from the back as well, up to 11th place. So some impressive drives. Some people are going to go out and try and do all they can to try and get that right final flurry here at Oulton Park. But it's going to be all about Honda at the moment.
Gordon Shedden, what a victory. He kept it cool, he kept it online. So many drivers saying it's so slippery offline here today, but Gordon Shedden, from only scoring 1 set of points at the first weekend at Brands Hatch, he has scored solidly at Donington at every race, at Thruxton at every race, and at Oulton Park out of the 2 races we've had so far here. There is Tony Gillam. He started right at the back of the grid on the 11th row, and he finished in 11th position with actually Gordon Shedden's old car from 2011. Shedden victorious, 1.2 seconds ahead of Andrew Jordan, the Honda Yuasa Racing Team. That's 2 victories out of 2 races so far here today. Andrew Jordan 2nd, Plato in 3rd position, Dan Welch with his Proton in 4th, Matt Neal points, but maybe not what he wanted with 5th. Nick Foster, great result for him in 6th. Lee Wood likewise from the Binge Racing Vauxhall in 7th.
Griffin, Onslow Cole and Newsham round out the top 10. And then the last 5 point scorers, Gillum, Tony Hughes, good for him. Chris James, he had an off first thing today, but he's back with some points this afternoon. Collard, well, he recovered. And Ollie Jackson, he recovered as well after a pit stop. Let's have a look at the standings. Gordon Shedden now leads not by 2, but by 13 points ahead of his teammate Matt Neal. Plato holds on to third position, but he's now 16 points back of the leader. Andrew Jordan does go from 6th to 4th position, as Collard and Jackson didn't really capitalise upon their what was 1-2 position halfway through this race. Dave Newsham holds 7th position. Onslow Cole, Jeff Smith, who didn't start that race after an engine change, and Frank Rathel, who again had to come into the pits and clear the radiator and intercooler after a big off at Cascades. The man starting from pole position, Tom Onslow Cole with the eBay BMW ahead of Liam Griffin with the Redstone Ford Focus. Row 2, Lee Wood and Nick Foster. Third row, Matt Neal and Dan Welch. On to row 4, it's Jason Plato with Andrew Jordan. Strong driver car combinations in this point in the grid. And our current championship leader, Gordon Shedden, he's heading row 5 with Dave Newsham alongside him. Tony Gillum on row 6 with Tony Hughes. Row 7 is Chris James, Rob Collard. He's got a lot of work to do. Row 8 is Ollie Jackson and Aaron Smith. Frank Rathel, he hasn't had much luck so far today. Matt Jackson, we saw him getting caught up with Collard earlier. Adam Morgan, Andy Neat. Will Bratt, Jeff Smith, as I said, at the rear of the fields. They're on their warm-up lap here at Oulton Park at the moment. It's a 2.2 mile circuit. It's going to be 15 laps that these guys are going to be doing around this circuit. And we can catch up with Matt Neal. Matt, it's Toby up in the commentary box. Tell us what happened to you in the last race.
Hi, Tobe. We lost the boost level on the green flag lap, so I was having to run with minimal boost for the start and the race.
Now, you're now second in the championship. Your teammate Gordon's just 13 points ahead. We're getting to the meat of the season. Are you racing flat out, or are you beginning to think championship? What's your mindset?
Oh, mate, you can never start to think of championship. You've got to race flat out. I got Jason right behind me and Gordon right behind him, but the positive side, we got the boost fixed, and so car feels ready to go.
Okay, Matt Neal, have a great race. Thank you very much. Yes, as we come into this, Simon, the 12th round of 30 races that we got in 2012. I mean, he says he's not thinking of the championship. I disagree with that. What do you think?
Well, I think what his point was is at this stage he's got to charge for every possible available point, not settle for a safe 4th when he could go for 3rd. I think it's probably where he's going from. So I suppose in a way it's kind of a yes and a yes, if that makes any kind of sense, that you've got to think about the championship, but you've also got to think, I can't afford to take anything safe. I've got to push. He wouldn't have taken the risk of taking that move on Andrew Jordan to take the lead in race 1 otherwise, would he? He would have settled for a nice safe position, and he did what he had to do. Now, can Tom Onslow Cole do what he has to do? The BMs are rockets off the line, but can it stay there this time? That's the key.
Tom Onslow Cole on the pole position. He admitted after race 1 that he hadn't clicked with the car. Liam Griffin alongside him with the Ford Focus. Lee Wood with the silver and orange Vauxhall Vectra. He heads the second row of the grid. Watch the BMW from pole. It's going to be leading, is it? As they're under starters' orders, and we are away here at Oulton Park now. Great start from Rob Collard in the middle of the field. My goodness me, what a rocket ship start from his sister BMWs at the front of the field, as Onslow Cole leads from Nick Foster in second position as they charge down to Cascades into the evening sunshine for the first time. They're on the brakes for Cascades. 3rd is Griffin. 4th is Matt Neal, I reckon that is, ahead of Lee Wood already. Oh, and there's drama and there's action, and round they go. And that's Andy Neat who's gone round. Jeff Smith comes through. There is Adam Morgan in there as well.
All sorts of action again at the island hairpin, Simon.
Yeah, Plato overtaking on Liam Griffin, I think that was, to go through. Screens come out of Adam Morgan's car. Well, he has disaster after disaster. The Sicily car, it seemed to be quick, but having so many dramas.
Jason Plato goes to 4th position. He just squeezes out Liam Griffin, or does he? As Gordon Shedden is right on his rear bumper. They come through Hislops for the first time. Told you it was going to be a great race. One of the Vauxhall Vectras has a big slide and a big moment as he comes through Knickerbrook up Clay Hill. So then, in through Druids we go. The 2 BMWs lead from the Honda Civic. It's Matt Neal in that 3rd position. He started from 5th off the grid and he's on to 3rd at the moment, but as he said, Simon, when we were talking to him on the warm-up lap, he's got Jason Plato right behind him, pushing already.
He has indeed. Now he's got a difficult scenario. I reckon Nick Foster has been tasked with trying to hold them all up here, to allow Onslow Cole to get away. Not saying he'll do that in any kind of unfair way, but he's going to make it as hard as possible to give Tom that break. That therefore means that Matt Neal has got to get past Foster, but he's got to make sure that Plato doesn't get past him. It's going to be such a challenge for Matt Neal to hold this position. He goes for the move though.
Oh, he touches, he pushes the BMW once, twice, as the lead is eking away for Tom Onslow Cole. It's a 1.8, nearly 2-second lead, but it's still Nick Foster who's on the brakes, and Matt Neal makes it stick. Nice, tidy line on the entry into the right-hander. Plato's going to go through as well. That MG has got fantastic mid-corner speed and traction out. However, as good as it may be, it won't beat a BMW out of a first-gear hairpin.
No, but he does get down the inside of that one, doesn't it, on the brakes, and he holds it nice and tidy, goes through the first pile of his, he's in the second one. Watch him sweep right on our view as he goes through Knickerbrook chicane. How long is it going to be before he starts to close down on Matt Neal? And look at the gap. Onslow Cole had a gap of 1.8 over his teammate when he crossed the line. It's now Neal in second. Let's see what the gap is.
Dave Newsham been given a drive-through penalty, not sure why that happened.
He was late to the grid. We saw him out of our comms box at the last minute. Remember, Tobes, he came to his grid, and I think that was why he was out of position effectively.
Look at Lee Wood, he's all over the back of Nick Foster. Gordon Shedden's keen to get through as well. Lee Wood with the Bins Racing Vauxhall Vectra, he comes into view. Lee Wood currently comes over the line and he is in 5th position. Shedden behind him with the red sunstrip. Then you've got Liam Griffin, Welch just coming through your shot as well, Andrew Jordan, Rob Collard, as we're riding on board with Andy Neat at the second corner.
Oh, well, just Morgan moves across, taps into Will Bratt. Poor old Andy Neat gets caught up in the melee behind. You saw Morgan's screen come flying out. It looks like Bratt's just about got away with it.
Adam Morgan's screen came out just because it was going backwards.
Yeah, exactly. Must have had a window open somewhere. Seriously, I think the side windows, if they're open, maybe it was enough. No, it shouldn't happen, but it could have been that.
It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen, that's for sure. But Andy Neat is still in the race, but he's back in 20th position. Meanwhile, there is Andrew Jordan, damage to the front of his number 77 Pertec Honda. Collard comes through. Welch is in trouble as we are riding on board with Matt Jackson behind Dave Newsham, who has yet to do his drive-through penalty. Oh, that's going to go Pete Tong, isn't it? That can only go wrong. Matt Jackson had to get out of the throttle. Newsham's gone backwards behind our camera car, and Griffin's gone off now.
There's a lot of damage on the front. I think he's hit the wall on the way in there. I think you're right, Toby. Your point. Now this could be a safety car. If it is, it's such a shame for Tom Onslow Cole.
That's a massive hit. And there's another one! And there's another big hit. He's going to go into the gravel at Lodge Corner.
And now Matt Jackson, he's already had some trouble today. He's had penalty points for the contact with Rob Collard, and I reckon Bob Kettleborough is going to be looking very, very seriously at what Matt's been doing. This is not the birthday present that Matt Jackson wanted. Liam Griffin for Motorbase and for Redstone Racing also having frustration.
Safety car is out. Safety car is out. We've got 2 cars in difficult positions here at Oulton Park, and Tom Onslow Cole, his lead that was 1.4 seconds, it was decreasing to the tune of about a second a lap with Matt Neal with the gas on. And so Jason Plato in 3rd position. These guys, are they still racing? Yes, they are, and they're naughty because the yellow flags are out all around the circuit. The yellow banners are out with safety car all around the circuit, and they should have seen those
And they're still racing as they go in.
Oh,
come on, guys!
Smith has got a problem. Aaron Smith couldn't stop that car. That's a braking issue of some sort.
So we're under safety car. That car, I was actually, doesn't help the fans at home, but I was pointing at the screen while Simon was talking at all the dirt at the top of the screen there, alongside that barrier on the approach to Druids. He's gone left into the barrier. He's hit it hard with the front right of the car. He's clattered the back of it, I noticed, when Liam was jumping the barrier, and that car is a mess. They've had a lot of work to do down there at Motorbase. Now then, here he goes. Oh, he lost it on the way in. It was his own fault. Bang! Hard into the barrier once and twice, and round he goes. Well, that was his own accident.
That's a very odd one, because it's far enough into the race, 3 or 4 laps, that the rear tyres will be warm enough. Here's what happens with Jackson, Matt Jackson, and Welsh. Gives him a little whack. Welsh gets spun around. And he just about keeps it out of the gravel. Welsh has come past us. Newsham has just come in, as has Ollie Jackson. Now let's see what's going on here. This is where Aaron Smith, I think, goes straight on. Maybe out a puncher or something, because that looks like the car's not going to stop. Yeah, I think maybe, could he have a front left puncher perhaps?
It didn't want to turn at all, yes.
Remember, he had a puncher earlier on in race 1 with the rear, though, going through there and spun the car.
There was a little bit of front left damage to the front of Aaron Smith's Ford Focus, I noticed there. There's a little bit more now. He clouted the barrier on the run-on area. So then let's just recap from the top, shall we? Onslow Cole leads from Matt Neal in 2nd position. Jason Plato's in 3rd. As we are riding on board with Matt Neal. Matt, we've had a bit of carnage, but how does it feel for you with your Honda?
Honda feels great, Tobe. I was conscious I got Jason on the back door, but the drama out here is someone's been going around spilling oil everywhere, so every corner you get to is a bit of a new adventure.
Well, that must be, Matt, from the Porsche race. They had some massive problems with a lot of coolant going down. It must still be there.
No, mate, this is something that's materialised after our lap 1. So, and Liam Griffin's had a massive one, man.
Yeah, he had his own accident on the way into Druids. But thank you for joining us. We'll leave you to concentrate in your 2nd place. Thanks, Matt. Well, Simon, even more fluid down on the racetrack.
Well, I mean, it could have been something to do with that contact we saw at the first. So here's the restart. You see, also the start rather. You see Onslow gets a great one, as does Nick Foster, as you expect. Griffin doesn't get a bad one. Matt Neal immediately past Lee Wood. Andy Jordan in the middle of the pack, keeping it nice and tidy. Gillum and Newsham side by side, watching the background for the incident. Here it's about to unfold as Morgan tangles with Bratt. And then watch poor old Andy Neat. There goes
Screen
the
comes
screen.
out. That won't pass its MOT, will it, Simon?
It won't indeed. It's more than a stone chip, that one, isn't it, really? And this is Jeff Smith thinking, blimey, I don't need any more action today. Does he hit the screen? No, oh dear. Synchronised spinning left, right and centre. Well, you said earlier, Toby, that Cascades has caused the most amount of challenges for drivers over today. Well, the understatement of the day with this lot, really, isn't
yeah,
it?
not dodging an errant windscreen as it came out of that Toyota. I have never, ever seen that before.
Well, I mean, I can remember seeing situations where you've had, screens come out and then they've actually had to take the rear screen out because it'll blow it out. I remember in Bathurst a few years ago, as neat. Well, I wonder if that's a problem that's been caused. Maybe it was something to do, not casting aspersions on the team, maybe where they've installed a new engine in a hurry, then maybe something hadn't quite put together properly.
I would actually hazard a guess that maybe because he went off the track, Simon, there was grass and mud and stuff in the intercooler, and it might have overheated and it might have gone pop because he had... These cars, they're running so close to the ground, and the splitters are they're a bit of a snowplow, aren't they? They just churn everything up like a JCB bucket, and in it goes, and there's nothing they can do, and the water temperature just goes ping in a matter of a third of a lap.
Absolutely, and because obviously a turbo engine as well is already a little bit more critical on heat dispersion than a normally aspirated engine. We saw earlier to expand on your point, Toby, Frank Rathel, of course, coming in with exactly that snow power effect, went bouncing across the grass, kept the car intact, and then probably the dashboard will have lit up like a Christmas tree with alarms and warnings and things telling him to slow down. and obviously being the sensible lad that he is, he brought it in. Now Onslow, this is going to be such a challenge to get away from Matt Neal now, isn't it?
Well, he's got the tyres, in theory, that will be the advantage for the restart, will they not, Simon? They're going to heat up quicker than the wider ones on the Honda?
It seems to be, but I think they've done enough laps now that all of the cars will be at a similar level. That's probably going to be the case. Were we at sort of lap 2, maybe, that could perhaps be an advantage. Matt Jackson, well, he's had a busy day, isn't he? For sure. And he's sitting there in 9th position after starting way down, but I wonder if he's going to get himself into any dramas after that contact with Welch. He's going to argue that Dan Welch moved across on him. Dan Welch is going to argue, I was trying to close the door and Matt Jackson just kept pushing me. So I can imagine that one's going to be a sitting down with the stewards type conversation. Difficult. You can always see both sides of the argument, but at the same time, we heard Paul O'Neill be quite vociferous about it. Said sometimes you have to accept, frankly, you've made a mistake. That could be the case. Who knows?
There is Matt Jackson trying to keep cool, just letting go of the wheel, probably just seeing if the tracking's still straight.
Could be, absolutely right. Yeah, it could be that. So let's see if we see what his thoughts are on that one, Toby.
Matt, it's Toby up in the commentary box. First of all, happy birthday. It's not been the best of birthdays, has it?
Yeah, you know, it's a little bit frustrating birthday, but you know, we're here in the 3rd race. We've had a good start, so yeah, let's hope we can go forwards. I think the safety car is going to be out quite a while, but the Redstone Racing Focus has done as well when it's been running today. So yeah, we'll see what's left.
Have you got a bit of a bullseye painted on the inside of the windscreen with Rob Collard? How are you feeling at the moment?
Well, you know, we've got to race Rob as we would with every other driver. Unfortunately, you know, with Rob, he never gives an inch, and sometimes it means you both end up in the barrier, and it's a bit of a shame about the 2nd race. But you know, we'll race Rob the same as what we do anybody else, and that's fair.
I spoke to Matt Neal just a lap ago with the onboard microphone that I'm doing with you. He says it's very slippery out there. There's a lot of coolant being thrown down. Are you finding the same? I think we've lost him. Matt Jackson just hides behind the trees for a moment as we continue under safety car conditions here at Oulton Park. Now, this is the incident with Jackson. That was a tap. Also, Simon, you have to say that maybe Welch was a little bit earlier on the brakes. It's a heavier car, remember, another 120, 130 kilos.
And also, by definition, if you're defending into a corner like Lodge, you have to brake quite a lot earlier. Otherwise, you're just simply not going to make the corner. Or if you do make it, you'll run so wide, you're automatically going to lose the gap. Of course, what Daniel Welch is doing is what any racing driver worth his salt will do, is he's going to fight his position until he absolutely can't do any more. But look at the mess out there. It's going to be a real challenge, isn't it?
Well, the marshals have put a lot of cement dust to try and absorb some oil or some coolant. It probably looks like oil, and that might add up to Andy Neat's car. We're hazarding a guess here from the first lap, aren't we, Simon? But that's going to be the hardest corner probably in the championship. Now got oil on.
Yeah, we like a challenge, don't we? Yeah. As the sun goes down, the hardest working motorsport volunteers in the world are our great British marshals. They're all absolutely loving the world of the British Touring Car Championship, but they're having to earn their time out here, aren't they? Interesting also, one of the cars I noticed behind the safety car that had got some quite big damage to the front was Andrew Jordan's Pertec Honda, the CBT travel car, not looking as pristine as it was earlier. I've seen him on the podium twice already. He's sitting there in 7th place. His fastest lap is a little bit slower than some of the cars immediately in front of him. But it's interesting to see whether... I think he's one of the cars that the safety car, assuming his car's not damaged to the point where it's losing performance, this could work for him. But I think we need to watch Plato after the restart.
There is Andrew Jordan just going through a shot. The front right-hand side of the car damaged. The front right headlight is missing. It's been pushed back, gone AWOL, disappeared into the hedge, one rather fancies. And that might just affect the aerodynamics at the top speed when they're touching 125, 126 miles an hour as they go on the run underneath Warwick Bridge down to Lodge Corner. In fact, the headlight cluster has been wedged in, and it's actually, if it was still connected, doing a bit of crow spotting at the moment.
Exactly, yeah. Well, it's like a searchlight probably if it was turned up, wasn't it?
Now let's have another look at the start, shall we? This is on board with Jeff Smith from the back of the field, and he got left absolutely dead last. That's what it looks like as the field disappears. One of the worst feelings as a motorsport driver. They all disappear into the distance. Andy Neat has a bit of contact, was he, through that first corner. Then Adam Morgan and Will Bratt have a bit of a love-in. Then Andy Neat has to go left, and he doesn't touch anybody. He just has a spin on his own. He did a super job to get round there. On board with Jeff Smith, he did a super job to try and avoid the carnage of the three cars going every which way but forward. And he's now up into 12th position as he just goes through your shot there at Island Bend. So finally, Jeff Smith having a bit of luck after not being able to start in race 2 because he blew an engine in race 1. They didn't have a chance to get it in for that second race.
Yeah, it's a classic example of if you kind of stay out of trouble and let it all, the carnage unfold around you, then anything can happen. Plato's proved a mixture of pace and good fortune got him onto the podium in race 2. So who knows where Jeff Smith could do. He may even match his best ever result, 4th so far.
We're riding on board with Matt Neal, but if you look into the distance, you can just see that the lights are out on the safety car, so a couple more corners to go. Tom Onslow Cole leads this race. Matt Neal's in 2nd place. 3rd is Jason Plato. 4th is Gordon Shedden. 5th then is Lee Wood. Nick Foster with the BMW, he's in 6th. Andrew Jordan with that blue Honda, he's then there in 7th with the 77. The safety car is already coming into view here on the home straight. These guys are building, they've got the speed now, and now they are unleashed. We're back racing here at Oulton Park. Onslow Cole leads over the line. He's got a good one here, Simon. He's pulled out ahead of Matt Neal immediately.
He has indeed, he judged it very, very well. Used a good traction, as you see there.
Oh!
Jordan, side-by-side contact. No, he's into the wall.
Collard involved. He just nudged Andrew Jordan, and Andrew, who has been on the podium twice already today with a couple of second places, hardly got the thing up into 3rd gear. Down to Island Bend we come. Jason Plato all over the back of the Honda of Matt Neal. Still Onslow Cole leads.
And I'm sure we're going to have another safety car. This circuit has got tyres going everywhere. Andrew Jordan's car was on the edge of the track, the sort of place where drivers will regularly run wide every lap. And it's just, surely, yes, there it is, safety car. Poor Tom Onslow Cole, what has he got to do? And you can see just how quick Plato was after that restart.
Well, we've been given another 3 laps. We've gone from 15 to 18 laps. These guys have yet to get the full message that it's going to be another yellow flag safety car conditions here at Oulton Park. We were racing for not even a corner as Ollie Jackson and Aaron Smith are out at the island hairpin as well. Dear, oh dear, we're back to that carnage that we had, Simon, at Brands Hatch and a bit of Donington Park as well, where they were all a bit naughty.
Well, Ollie Jackson's day, it didn't start particularly well. I was sitting in a bit of a traffic jam trying to get into the circuit this morning, and suddenly this person came running past, and it was Ollie Jackson. Right, now let's see what happens here.
Oh, now Collard tagged with Andrew Jordan. Let's have another replay. So get the top 3, 4, 5, 6. Look at these 2 guys side by side. Collard in the white BMW.
Now, in Rob Collard's defence, he was a long way down the inside of Andrew Jordan now. Andrew knew he was coming through, and perhaps in hindsight, he could have given Rob a little bit more room. Now look, you can see Andrew tapping his head going, what the hell are you doing? You're a bit nuts. But I think when you see the replay, Collard had actually got a long way down the inside. So I don't think it's quite as much Rob's fault as perhaps initially as it looked like.
Well, Andrew Jordan out of the race and not quite doing a Martin Skanker and waving his arms and standing in the middle of the track.
Chasing cars as they were. It's not just a famous song, it actually was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. An interesting link with Andrew Jordan is Rallycross there, of course.
Absolutely, absolutely. Dave Newsham in the pits, the ESRacing.com mechanics. Well, they're going to get the lump hammer out in a minute to try and get that bumper all sorted. There's a bit of tape that's going to be holding it on, just as it was at Brands Hatch for Dave when he got a 3rd position in the 3rd race of the day. Aaron Smith's Ford gets pushed away. That damage, I think, started earlier in the race. Do you remember when he ran on down to the Hislop chicane and he gives it a slam and a kick, and Yes, he'll send it to hell, I think. He's not had a great weekend. He's been testing here. He put a lot of effort into this weekend here at Oulton Park with a day's testing a couple of weeks ago, and yet he went too conservative in qualifying yesterday. That left him too deep on the grid. So then this happens, and
Andy Jordan marching away, I think, is the only way to describe it. I can imagine there's a few expletives going on inside that crash helmet there. You can always tell how angry a driver is by the fact he leaves his crash helmet on, and that's always a sign. And also the stride, it's not a saunter, is it? It's a stride that he's doing there, and that is one angry young man.
2 podiums he's had here today, 2 second places. He was the top scorer out of the first 2 races, and then this happened. So yeah, he's got a stomp on, in fact. He's got a stomp. I'm surprised he's not causing an earthquake with a stomp on like that.
Absolutely. I think the other thing is that it's not just the fact that obviously he's had a shunt, and that's always going to anger a driver, but combination of things. Budget is one issue, and no, you know, not a situation. He's tapping his helmet again, saying the bloke's mad. This is his opinion of Rob Collard, and you can see that. Is that Dad Mike? I think that might be Mike.
It is.
And, I can imagine the conversation that's going on. Of course, Mike, a former race winner in British Touring Car Championship at the age of 50 back at Mondello Park in that venerable Honda Integra course. The 2 of them were teammates in the Pertec team for a while until Mike decided to retire to team manager role and leave the youngster to have the driving honours. But no doubt that Andrew has the ability that he's inherited from his father, who's what an outstanding driver that man is as well, Mike Jordan. He still is. Does the shakedowns in these cars still.
Yes, and still doing some historic motorsport as well is Mike Jordan, and he's enjoying every minute of it. He's just about to walk past Collard's garage. Let's have a look and see what happens. No, he didn't make it that far. He wisely, I rather fancy, as a BRDC member, decides to go in the garage and into the back of the truck.
I wonder how brave Louise Goodman is feeling, whether she feels like stalking him and asking his thoughts. If we could remember, it's still a family programme and we don't get any tough expletives.
Now then, I've done 7 Dakar rallies, and when the windscreen pops out, Simon, on a Dakar, they've got a set of goggles out the back of the seat. But now Adam Morgan, he's flipped his visor down. He's going to keep the bugs out of his eyes.
Oh, safety car's in.
We're back racing. We're back racing. Tom Onslow-Cole leads over the line ahead of Matt Neal and Jason Plato as we charge down to Old Hall again here at Oulton Park. Please get everybody through here. Rob Collard gets a great exit. He's right up behind his teammate Nick Foster. Matt Jackson's behind Collard. He would have seen the incident that happened when we were green after the last safety car where Andrew Jordan went into the fence. Leading down to the oh, this is going to get close as we're riding on board with Matt Jackson. The 2 BMWs go to the right hand side. Jackson's almost being pushed under the grass. He does the cutback, but Collard's got him covered as they pass the immortal tarmac where they came to blows in the last race. Still leading is Tom Onslow-Cole as he goes down to Hislops.
Yeah, he is leading, and he actually was a couple of tenths slower than Neil through that first sector. And I think that it's going to be tough now for Tom Onslow-Cole, because I think as we're getting further into it, the NGTC Honda and the car of Jason Plato, the KX Momentum MG6 seems to be working very strongly. We haven't had enough proper racing lap to see who's got the pace yet, though.
Exactly. Now we can see these 3 as they skate over the top of the crest there on the exit of Druids through the evening sunshine. Tom Onslow-Cole, a little bit of a weave under the brakes with the BMW, but the Honda of Matt Neal is right on his tail, and he's got good drive. Jason Plato's there to pick up any scraps if there's any action between Onslow-Cole and Matt Neal, as we're riding on board with a second place man as we start lap 14 here at Oulton Park. Great driving from Tom Onslow-Cole. He needs it for his confidence. Matt Neal second in the championship at present. He's only 13 points behind Gordon Shedden, his teammate, who by the way is in 4th position. Brave driving from Onslow-Cole, putting the outside rear on where the oil has been dropped at the beginning of this race. On the brakes, puff of smoke. Neal goes through. Neal goes through side by side, and Neal makes a great line through Island Bend, and he leads.
That is an example of just how good the Honda is. Remember, you can see they've got slightly bigger brakes with those bigger wheels, but
it's not over.
Back.
It's not over yet, Simon, but Matt Neal gets it deep on the brakes. Tom Onslow-Cole, he's got big pressure now from Jason Plato behind him and Gordon Shedden behind him as well. Lee Wood, let's not forget him. He's doing a brilliant drive to keep up with the big budget boys in front of him.
If he could end up with that 5th position, that would be his best finish ever in the British Touring Car Championship. In fact, as it was last year, his best ever finish of 7th. But Plato looks like he's got a lot of speed in that car. I'm going to be interested to see if he can find a gap. I'm sure once he gets past Tom Onslow-Cole, he's going for it down the inside. Look at Shedden's trying to follow Plato through. Is there contact? Not quite. Lee Wood could inherit some of the mess if it goes wrong.
Shedden had to get out of the throttle there, and he's lost a big gap to the BMW in front of him. Jason Plato, now 2nd position for him. He's 0.7 of a second behind Matt Neal as we start lap 15 here at Oulton Park. Up over the crest, down towards Cascades. Neal, Plato, Onslow-Cole, actually top 3 at the moment, and Neal's got the hammer down, hasn't he? He was victorious at the first race here as Matt Jackson goes rally crossing, and he gets it all gathered together again. Plato runs on! He just about gets away with it, but let's see the acceleration of the rear-wheel drive BMW against the front-wheel drive MG. Plato was looking down in the cockpit of the car there as his dad looks on from the back of the garage. I saw his visor tipping down, maybe looking at the dashboard that's mounted quite low and all the ECU and such like and the settings, or maybe it was a brake balance.
Could be, yeah. They've said they've got the bias wound right to the front on this car, as in a lot of the cars have, and it still feels like it's braking at the rear at times. So maybe that's a challenge that Jason Plato is trying to compensate for as the tyres go away. Quite often you may need to adjust the bias a little bit, but at the moment it certainly looks like in terms of handling and pace, Plato's car's good, but is it good enough on the brakes perhaps?
Keep an eye on Gordon Shedden. He was half a second quicker on that last lap than Tom Onslow-Cole in front of him. He's right on the tail of the eBay BMW. The Yuasa Honda has got good drive as he comes over the start-finish line to complete that 15th lap. There is Gordon Shedden leading the championship, leading it healthily too by 13 points. He's had 5 victories already this year. As we cut back to Matt Jackson, who went onto the grass last time we saw him at this corner here that we are approaching, side by side with Tony Gillam. The Ford Focus has the bite and the turn-in to take the position away from Tony. So I reckon that's up to 8th position as we cut back to the leaders.
Yeah, now this is the interesting one. Has Shedden got enough paces? Dan Welch is out, unfortunately. Well, he heard him saying he just wanted to bring the car to the finish in race 2. Sadly, doesn't look like he's going to be able to do that in the final race of the day. Plato now just watching to see the pace. He's got very fast through sector 1. He was the quickest of anybody so far in the race on that lap, on the lap that we're on at the moment. Can he continue that pace now? Here is James Bratt and a recovering Adam Morgan. Well, they've already tangled once. Now they've tangled properly, haven't they?
Well, that's going to be big damage for the steering, surely on Adam Morgan's car at the Island hairpin. As the leaders charge down Gordon Shedden. He said yesterday, did Shedden, that it was an oversteery car yesterday and it was an understeery car this morning. Well, it's a wide-running car out of Druids on that one. Over the line we come again. Matt Neal completes lap 16. 2 more laps of this 2.2-mile circuit to go. Can Plato go for the victory? Remember, he didn't start the first race. He then started last for race 2 and still finished on the podium in 3rd position. But crucially for Jason Plato, that's his 3rd or 4th non-score so far this year. That'll be crucial by the time we return to Brands in the autumn.
It will be. Interestingly, Tom Onslow-Cole has just set the fastest lap of the race. Now, it looked to us like the venerable BMW maybe had done its tyres early or something like that, but clearly not the case. It's coming on strong. If anything, it looks like Onslow's catching Plato, and if the pair of them are reeling in Matt Neal, maybe, just maybe, it's a big ask, but maybe it's not over for Tom Onslow yet.
The 2 eBay BMWs have just swapped places. That's Rob Collard getting ahead of Nick Foster. That's for 6th position there. Lee Wood still in front of them. We're riding with Matt Jackson with the Ford Focus and the S2000 chassis that we're with, in front again with Lee Wood. Oh, this is cheeky, isn't it? Matt Jackson trying to go around the outside up Clay Hill towards Druids. That was optimistic.
Yeah, it would have taken Foster to have a really big problem going up the hill for Jackson to have enough speed to do that. Meanwhile, Onzo now has fallen into the clutches of Shedden.
Gordon Shedden on a mission here at Oulton Park. That's a little bit of a tap there as we come out of Lodge Corner for the penultimate time. Last lap now started here at Oulton Park for this British touring car race. And we are all together. Matt Neal is in trouble. He lost 0.6 of a second on that lap, Simon. Gordon Shedden's using all of the road. This is going to be a photo finish, whatever happens.
I think you might be right. I think Matt Neal might genuinely be in trouble. He was a 1:32 last time, which is 4 seconds away from his best lap. Jason Plato was 0.6 slower, 0.6 quicker, but behind them, the two behind were even quicker still.
And as they said in Jaws, that's what Jason Plato might be thinking. We're going to need a bigger boat for this one. But Plato has got Matt Neal has got great drive out of the island hairpin there. And Jason Plato has lost a little bit of an advantage, has he, as they come into Hislops for the final time. Was that Matt Neal going a little bit wide there, Simon? Last half a lap.
That was very leery, wasn't it, if nothing else? But look at Lee Wood. He's driving the race of his life at the moment in 5th place in the Benz Vectra. Done a brilliant job all day, and particularly in this race, you thought potentially he'd go backwards because obviously of the quality of the cars around the drivers, but he's held his own. He's shown what he's made of completely today.
He started 13th in the championship this morning, and he's running 5th with mega budget drivers in front of him. Into the final corner comes Matt Neal. He takes a nice clean line. Onslow Cole defends his 3rd position, and Lee Wood defends his 5th position from Rob Collard, but Matt Jackson's going to have a go. Matt Neal's victorious twice here at Oulton Park, ahead of Jason Plato. Tom Onslow Cole returns to the podium in 3rd position. The top 3 covered by less than 0.9 of a second. Gordon Shedden in 4th. Wood, that brilliant 5th position, and Yuasa Honda Racing and Barry Plowman, their crew chief there, ahead of engineering. What a day they have had here. They have won the 1st race, the 2nd race, and now the 3rd. It has been a Honda racing whitewash here at Oulton Park.
It has indeed, and more importantly for Matt Neal, it's kind of just shifted a bit of momentum to say that yes, Gordon Shedden is quick, yes, Gordon Shedden's won 5 races, but I'm not over and done yet. You asked him the question, you asked Matt Neal, are you thinking championship? Well, can you think of a better way of thinking championship than winning 2 races?
That's great news for the defending champions. Matt Neal, of course, a 3-time champion. He kept his cool at that very last race last year at Silverstone, literally in the twilight of the day itself. And he's kept cool here today. He's had some low times this year, has Matt Neal. Remember that he had a non-score at Donington Park in that 3rd race, and they had all sorts of woes with the brand new car that they've developed since the autumn last year, a car that they have worked so hard to be winning again. And for Matt Neal, it's his 3rd British Touring Car Championship victory for the 2012 season. Look how close it was in the top 3 as Plato and Onslow Cole chased him hard to the line. Gordon Shedden clinched 4th position, but what a result for Lee Woods with the Bins Racing Vectra. They will party tonight. Rob Collard gets 6th, just ahead of Matt Jackson. Nick Foster in 8th. Frank Rathel finally gets some points. It was exactly what he wanted, to be in the top 10 after the bad luck in the first 2 races so far today. Tony Gillam, he did get that 10th position. 11th for Will Bratt. He's had a good weekend, hasn't he, in the British Touring Car Championship for the first time, ahead of Jeff Smith, who started essentially last. Chris James, Tony Hughes and Ollie Jackson, he was the last points scorer. Andrew Jordan, though, he was a non-scorer after that, coming together on the restart. Gordon Shedden, he now leads the championship by just 5 points as Matt Neal closes it from 13 to that 5. It's still a Yuasa Racing 1-2. Jason Plato's 3rd. Rob Collard, he's 4th with Andrew Jordan non-scoring this evening. He stays 5th ahead of Matt Jackson, Tom Onslow Cole, Newsham, Rathel and Jeff Smith.